What's up, folks? Welcome back to another episode of Charm City Heavyweights Podcast, brought to you by Grade 8 Memorabilia in Parkville, Maryland. I'm the host, Matt Trigger. With me, as always, is my co-host, Josh Merrill. Josh, what is going on, buddy? It is Dolphins week.
It's Dolphins week coming live from the man cave. We're going to have a packed house at the man cave this week. Matt, you might as well make the announcement. Tell them.
I will be at the man cave, and we might be going live from the man cave after the game immediately, since we will be together. And I will.
Ain't
I
no
have my
might
first
about it.
ticket
It's
to
what's
the
happening.
cave. Yeah, it's my first ticket to the
Matt
cave
has
this year.
not been to the cave since last year's horrible loss to the Bengals in the wild card round of the playoffs. And
Yes.
I'm a little nervous
Let's
about it
not
because
talk
we
about
need this
that.
game.
Let's not talk about that though. But we have a couple special guests.
Special.
On the Miami Dolphins side, we have Rob from Dolphins Thirsty, and we have Hooked Up Joe. Guys, what is going on?
How you
Thank you
doing?
for having us.
Go
ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, we're hyped up for the game of the century again. This is definitely the game of the week and probably the game of the year for both our teams. And I like how both of our quarterbacks have big respect for each other. And I think we have respect for each other's team as well. So we're looking for just a really good game and hoping for no injuries on either side of the ball. Keep it clean all the way to the all the way.
That's always a good hope. So
Yeah.
let's get right into it, guys. Let's get right into it. This game is going to decide who gets the number one seed. Most likely, I'd say it's probably about an 85% chance, barring a whole bunch of miracles happening, that either Miami or Baltimore will end up with the number one seed. And we're coming off of a huge win over the San Francisco 49ers on Christmas night. A very convincing win that uh, took a lot of people by surprise. Not a lot of us in Baltimore, but a lot of the national media and a lot of the pundits, picked against us. So here we are, 12-3. You guys, I believe, are 11-4, and we're the top two teams in the AFC. So this is expected to be another heavyweight fight. I'm surprised they didn't flex this to Sunday Night Football. Um, how's everything going down in Dolphin Land with you guys? How's the season been progressing, at least in your eyes?
Oh, we love it. We love how we've been trending right in defense. Because the beginning of the season, it was definitely we were an offensive team, but towards the past few weeks, our defense has trended upward to the point now we're a top 5 defense in the NFL to match our top offense in the NFL. So it's exciting times. Our kicker is starting to act like your kicker, hitting clutch field goals when it all matters against the Dallas Cowboys. So it was very awesome to see. I'm sure Joe will chime in as well.
Yeah, exactly. Our defense is the secret weapon that we have. If we flash our offense out there, everybody's looking at that, but I think our defense is really killing it. Right now I'm more excited about our defense than I am our offense, even though everybody looks at that. Our defense is just, I mean, we've been going up a notch every single week. We start out like 25th ranked, and we've been going like we were 7th, then we were 6th, and now we're 4th. I mean,
Awesome. Hey guys, I got a quick question. Is Tua loved in Dolphin Land? Do you guys see somebody like you guys want signed long term, or is it still undecided?
No, he's loved I would say, just like any fan base, you got your lovers and your uncertains, but for the most part, fans have been won over this year. He stayed healthy. He stayed the near top of the charts. So I would say, speaking from Joe and I, we're sold on him. I still think a lot of fans probably, still want to see him conclude this year healthy, see what we do in the playoffs. But what do you think, Joe? I would think the majority, if you did a poll, are big fans of Tua.
yeah, and I mean, I was a person, I did not want us to draft him in the first place, but once we did, I'm like, all right, he's our guy, and I loved him and just said, can he stay healthy? Like a lot of people, I don't talk against him. I want him, and it was just fantastic to see him do what it takes to stay healthy, especially this year. We were losing a quarterback every 2 weeks for the first 3 quarters of the season. And it's hard to stay healthy in this league.
Sure is. You're right.
It definitely is.
We know
I'm
about that in Baltimore.
we do. We've gone through that the last couple of years. It's been painful, you know, having to go into the playoffs with Tyler Huntley. Even though we all love Tyler as a backup, it's definitely difficult.
We're not the same team. We're not nowhere near the same team when
we're not we're
number
nowhere
eight's
close,
not
guys.
in there. Yeah.
And I know this is a show. It's probably the game of the week. It should have been on prime time, and I don't really understand the NFL's reasoning to keeping it at 1 o'clock when the entire world should be watching this game.
Yeah. Well, I heard it's because your city has too much going on. Well, Baltimore has too much going on, and they couldn't have two big events, and they wouldn't have enough police presence and other first responder personnel because I guess they have some big event on New Year's Eve all the time in Baltimore.
Yeah,
So that's what I heard. Whether that's
Dude,
true or not,
I believe it's true because I read that too. It was on I think
Yeah.
Fox 45 posted it.
yeah.
But they did end up
It-
putting it. 80% of the country is going to see it anyway. If you look at the
Yeah.
506 map, it's like
Yeah.
we've got more people watching this game than we do the Kansas City game, or the same amount, and there's only 2 games on at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
like, I mean, the other 4 games have these tiny little bitty zones, and we're like everywhere. So they did kind of make it prime
I know
time
they
just
didn't even
by
give the.
snubbing everybody else out.
No, you're
Wow.
right, Joe. And then they didn't even give us the number 1 broadcast team, which is fine though, because I'm no big fan of Tony Romo anyway. So it's fine. But we got Iron Eagle instead of Tony Romo. So
I like
Yeah.
Iron Eagle. He's
I
a
like
solid.
Iron Eagle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a good commentator. I'm a Tony Romo fan for the simple fact that he's still fresh from retiring from the game, so
no, he knows his
calls
stuff,
out a
right?
lot
And he's
now.
okay.
He does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. He knows his
Dolphin
stuff.
fans
But
don't like him too much because we feel like he's a little too much of a fanboy for like Josh Allen and all that. But other than that, he's
Josh
okay.
Allen is Tim Tebow with an arm. We think he's overrated here in Baltimore anyway. So yeah, well, that's a whole other conversation for another day.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, I will say this though, the injury report has come out for our teams for the first portion of a week, and both of our teams are severely banged up right now. It just seems like the injury list was never ending, and Josh and I can attest to the fact that we had a really bad injury scare with Kyle Hamilton, and he avoided a catastrophic knee injury barely on Monday night. And you guys are going to be without your number 2 receiver, who's a number 1 on 25 other teams, Jalen Waddle. That's going to be a situation where your speedy receivers off the field. Tyreek Hill's banged up, so we still got to respect Tyreek Hill, obviously. And Raheem Mostert was announced that he's going to play this week as well, as was Terran Armstead, your franchise left tackle. So this is going to, if everybody plays that's supposed to play, this is going to be one physical game because your defense is physical. And I think we showed everybody on Monday night across the country that we have a very physical and aggressive defense, almost to a point where you can call it controlled chaos, Josh. I know that you
Absolutely.
have been, I know you were watching NFL All 22. Josh is our resident film watcher. Josh, what did you see with Miami on tape that you can let everybody know about in terms of
Defensively or
offensively?
offensively? Offensively. Oh, they're explosive. They're explosive. Look, we can't allow them to get their run game going. His name just popped out of my head. I'm sorry, but he's a touchdown machine, man. We cannot let that
Moser,
get go.
Raheem Moser.
Yeah, Moser. He's I think he's leading the league in touchdowns if I'm right.
Mhm.
Yes.
We can't let them come in here and run the ball. My worry about this game, Matt, I don't think this game's more about film. I think this game is more about last week was an emotional game. It was a big build up. I think the Ravens felt disrespected. And we all know how football works. Sometimes the highs and the lows, it's hard to. I'm just worried we're going to be flat. You know what I mean? This is a big game, man. This is like I said. I last week's game I kind of looked at it as a preseason game in my mind. Because I knew this was going to be the game that it's going to mean it. That game last week was just shutting everybody up. And it kind of settled all the 49ers talk down. But I don't know, man. I hope our defense can keep the same intensity. because Van Noy had a hell of a game. I don't know what's going on with Project Washington, man. He's not right, dude. He's just not the same guy. He a few times here and there you'll see some explosive plays, quick off the ball, but he's just not. He's getting pushed around a lot. He's just not the same guy. But I just want the defense to keep the same intensity, man. I think we're a more physical team than Miami, and the bank's going to be rocking, man. If the defense comes out that same intensity in the crowd, it's going to be hard for Miami to get out there with a win.
I do agree. It's definitely hard to play in Baltimore in late December, early January. It's going to be a definite playoff atmosphere because this could be a situation where we may see each other down the road again in a couple weeks, depending on the outcome of the game, where it will be. I like what you said though, Josh, with the defensive line. You know, Rod Washington's been pushed around a lot, but the Miami Dolphins have a good offensive line, and you guys run the ball very well. You guys protect Tua
They're solid,
rather
man.
well.
They're solid.
Yeah, you guys are solid. You guys have a solid bunch down there.
And yeah, we've done it with a meshed unit though, but they're almost all. We played with 4 backups on the offensive line against the Dallas Cowboys. Only Armstead played as a healthy starter, so they've been getting together with a banged up unit, good coaching, good schemes from McDaniel and our offensive line coach Butch Berry. And because I mean, it's been we had the top rated center in the NFL go down a couple weeks ago in the Tennessee game, which is a horrible game to mention in Dolphin land. But we lost the game and we lost Connor Williams for the season. He was a top ranked center. So, but we've kept plugging away, still trying to do what we do. So I think Joe can touch up on that, but we've been devastated along the offensive line injury wise.
Yeah, we've got only the Jets have more offensive line combinations this year than us. We've had to switch our offensive line up 10 times already, and that was 2 games ago. So it may be all the way up to 11 different combinations of offensive line. You know, you need to work as a cohesive unit. Coming in there and just switching positions and running, swapping around like that, that's not easy. Especially, you know, we have guys that we pulled off the street. We're playing guys we pulled off the street last year because we were playing guys off the street last year. We still got them this year, and there are, you know, some of them are our starters that are hurt, and we're wanting to get them back. So it's a testament to our scheme, getting the ball out quick, and great coaching to get all of our offensive players just to understand what they need to do from fundamentals and how to run that scheme. And that's where we're having benefit. It's not just, we don't have one of those lines where everybody's always there and they know what they're doing and it's the same guys every week. I mean, if we had an offensive line like that, we'd be talking different about this game coming up, even, you know, about record even. So it's a big testament to our coaching staff all in all. And then Butch Berry, you know, came in bad mouth and just has done a great job.
I want to ask you guys a question. With your offensive line being patchwork, as you're you know stating, with the possibility of having the 11th combination in 16 games to this point, our defense is still number one in pass rush. They're still number one in sacks. They kind of teed off on the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football. Between Jadeveon Clowney, Kyle Van Noy, and Justin Madubuike, they're well over 30 sacks just between those three. And then we have our secondary guys such as Travis Jones and Brent Urban. They offer a pass rush. How do you guys see yourself stacking up against this pass rush with Baltimore?
Yeah, it's going to be, of course, it's going to be tough because, we got the banged up unit, but Tua does so well at getting the ball out quick. It can offset that a little bit. It's going to be a lot of whether you take his first couple reads away, the quick hitters that he's able to get rid of the ball quick. If you guys can do that more so than the pass rush, because he, on average, this is fractions over 2 seconds. He's back there with the ball. That's how quick, he uses his speedy receivers to dump off quickly, and it's awesome to see. So I think we go okay. I wish we had Hunt going, or he's still questionable. he would help out. But Joe, you can touch up further on that. But yeah, on a real quick note, yeah, we just signed one of your old guys to our practice squad. Is how big, Sakura. I'm probably screwing up his name, but he just signed on the
That's
practice
girl.
squad with the
Okay.
Dolphins. Yeah. So I don't think he's going to be activated, but we signed him because that's how banged up. We got our starting center before this year had never played a snap. He's played tackle and he's played guard, and he's been our starting center now since Williams has gone out, and that's Eichenberg. So I think we can still match up well against you guys though, because Tua does do a very good job at getting it out quick. And Joe, not sorry for hogging all the space.
No, that's you covered it. The main thing is we have gone against the Dallas and the Jets defense back to back, and they're pretty stout. I mean, nobody can deny how great the Jets defense is. And I'm expecting pretty much the same type of battle that we've seen with the. I'm almost expecting a repeat of a serious defensive battle. Meaning, when you hold the offensive juggernauts to 20 points, that's a defensive win, and that's where last week it was 2 defensive wins for probably the game of the week. When you go back to watch what really happened in that game, the back and forthness, sometimes those games that are 40 points aren't the greatest games. Sometimes it's those defensive battles and watching that. I'm really expecting that again this week. I'm hoping for that.
And to counter, you guys are the first team in sacks, but I believe we're number 2 in sacks created on defense. So we're up there. We generate a pass rush too, and that's with losing Jalen Phillips for the season earlier in the season. But Van Ginkel's getting in there. Chubb has been really helping the club lately. He's stepping up and finally being worth that first round pick and the money we gave him. So he's been generating pressure. And then, like I said, Van Ginkel's been phenomenal in filling in for Phillips. So we generate pressure too. I know Lamar's a different beast because you think you have him, and the next thing you know, he's moving the chains 15 yards down the field. So hopefully we get someone in containment for him. But we've been getting a lot of pressure too the past few weeks. So hopefully, that works out.
Pressure with
And
Thor.
let me give you a real quick fins up to Daw, aka Courtney. She's a host on the Dolphins Thirsty channel, and Evan Posner, who's on the Fins Talk Sports Network all the time. He's in the room. 2 big Miami Dolphin fans coming into the room today. Thank you, guys.
Great show today too.
That was a great lead into the other side, Josh. What are you seeing on tape that Baltimore can take advantage of with the Miami defense?
Look, Lamar just needs to keep doing what he's doing. I got to apologize. I sent you a text earlier today, Matt, because my biggest fear going into this season after paying Lamar and fully committing to him was his pocket presence. And because we never really seen that with him yet. And early in the season, I was still very worried up until about 3 or 4 games ago, because, he was getting a lot of sack fumble. We're still winning games, but he's getting a lot, at least what was it, 1 sack fumble a game. Knock on wood, he hasn't had one of those in a while, because his pocket awareness is the best I've ever seen in my life. He is feeling pressure before it's there. He's gone in an instant 30 yards down the field. But here's the big difference and the scary thing for teams this year that the rest of the world is starting to see. Lamar isn't really running that much. When he runs, he's going to hurt you. But it's usually, if he does run, it's a breakdown of the play. They got pressure and he has to get out of there. He is killing people with his arm. He is deadly accurate. He finally has receivers in Baltimore that are making plays for him and playing for him. We actually have a coordinator now where we don't run the ball 100 times every game. And he's doing things different every week. Last week against the 49ers, I would have bet my life we were going to run the ball 40 times. We barely ran the ball at all. Lamar at hand. What did Lamar have? Like 45 passes, Matt? Something crazy?
Yeah, he had 25 at halftime, and I believe he finished the game with, I think, 43 or 45 passes.
Yeah, so I think it's more about the Ravens. The Dolphins are a good defense. I'm not taking anything away from them, but the Ravens, the way they just handled the 49ers, I think we have every right to be confident in this game. and confident that we can do the same thing against the Dolphins, especially at home. We got to play well, man. You know that they embarrassed us on Thursday night a few years ago, and then last year they embarrassed us again when it was a big Ravens lead, and they came back and stole it. So, there's a lot on the line. I think the Ravens had something to say last week, and I'm hoping, that same intensity is there this week and that same fire to want to show that we are the best team in the AFC and the NFL.
To build off of that real quick before we turn it over to the Dolphins guys, one thing the Ravens have changed this year as opposed to recent years is when the Ravens jump out to a lead, they maintain it. They don't let teams come back in and start punching us back. The defense has really been closing the door on teams a lot early in the second half this year. And that's been in part to the play of Roquan and Matabike and Kyle Hamilton. And I'm interested to see how we attack this Miami defense this week coming up because, like you guys alluded to, you guys have a good pass rush. You have Van Ginkel's been talked about a lot. Bradley Chubb is a good pass rusher. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but not having Phillips out there that helps us with our tackles tremendously because we are rotating our tackles right now. We got 4 guys rotating between left and right tackle. So it's definitely one of those situations where if we can jump out to an early lead and start, wearing you guys down, you guys have a very good defensive line. So you guys have our old defensive tackle, Styler. He
was a gift from you guys. I was plucking him from your product. He's been phenomenal since he's been here, and Christian Wilkins, of course.
Yeah, Wilkins is good. Wilkins, I think he's also your short down fullback as well. So the guy's an athletic freak of nature. You guys, I think between both of them, you guys have 17 sacks between the two. I heard on our radio today from Vinny Serrato, who's the former Washington Commanders general manager. He's on radio up here in Baltimore, and you guys have a good front four. But I think if we can hop out to an early lead, we can kind of lean on the front four and let Gus Edwards wear them down. But how do you guys feel defensively matching up against this high octane Ravens offense?
Well, I would go first, and then I let Joe. Basically, the main guy that scares me, of course, is Lamar. He's the engine that makes your guys go. The other guys don't scare me as much. I mean, I know Flowers is having a good season, and I like our defensive backs against him. I think would be okay, especially if they would ever shadow, but they very seldom do. They just play their corners on each side of the field. But if they would put Ramsey on him throughout the game, I think he could pretty much cover him. But they always shadow and they play zone. But, it's going to be tough. And Lamar is just that unknown because you just never know. You think you got it all contained, and then he busts out, gets out of the pocket, and makes things happen either with his arm or his leg. So that's the scariest part going in is the Lamar to me. I know that's easy to say because he's an MVP candidate. So it's not dissecting too much there, but to me, he's the wild card. How about you, Joe?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the Lamar thing is a given, so we'll just mark that off automatically as, the key to the game is stop Lamar, and stop Lamar, and that's my 3 keys to the game, but as far as our defense as a whole is just it's so solid. I do not think the Ravens are going to run on our defense. I don't think you're running your primary runner is oftentimes Lamar. Not every time, not every game. He's not the leading runner in every game, but he is in like half or something like that. So the running game, we're going to make Lamar pass, and I think that is actually what's going to happen. Is any scare is going to turn you into we're going to start passing, and you're going to see that works. I think you are going to be able. You're going to have the best luck you're going to have as an offense against our defense. Believe it or not, is passing right there in the center and out. That we get eaten up there sometimes, especially some of the defenses we run. So we'll see.
That is a misleading stat, though, man, because half the games he led rushing, that's usually one big play, a broken down play where he ran for 75, 80 yards. He's not running hardly at all. Matter of fact, on film, I've gotten frustrated with him a few times because it was wide open right there, and he didn't take it. He threw the ball, so he's not running at all unless he has to, and
Yeah,
that's
he's
how
not
he stays
trying to be
healthy.
Superman.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
you got to
that is a
survive.
And
misleading
that's
stat. Yep, and that's what he's doing this year. He's surviving. He gets down. He slides. Whatever he has to do, he's not taking many hits.
And as far as
the
Miami, there's a question about how does Miami perform in the cold? And we do have the historical, cold weather, we're going to blow it type of a history. But we did go into Buffalo last year in the playoffs with backup quarterback and do some damage. So and all in all, I think that you just can't call it cold. I think we're going to do okay. And luckily this year we haven't had to deal with it. I mean, the coldest game we've had all year is what we're about to go up to. When it's going to be 45 degrees, middle of the day, maybe 40 going into the game, probably,
yeah,
roughly.
it's not supposed to be too cold up here.
I mean, you put on pads and
Yeah.
you get out there and you got all that beef, man. That's just football weather. That's not cold at all.
Yeah, I don't
So
think the
I
weather's
don't
going to
think
be a
that's a
factor.
factor.
Yeah, I don't think this time it's going to be we escape that being a factor. It's not going to be like freezing rain or snow or sleet or anything like that. So I think we should be okay. And Lamar still, doesn't he have like over 700 yards rushing though? So I mean, I know he has a lot of yards. I
He,
was
he does, and the thing is, like Josh said,
It's just
a
chunk
lot of
plays.
a
It's
lot of
not
it
huge.
seriously, like he had, I think, 65 or 70 on the ground on Monday night, but one of the over half of his yardage, if not 2/3 of his yardage on the ground, came on a 32-yard rush on a broken play, and it was one of those situations where with him getting down, he made two guys miss in the pocket, and then he got downfield because there was nobody within 20 yards. All of our receivers ran deep routes, and he managed to slip a couple sacks and then make a couple moves downfield. But a lot of his runs now are by design, which I'm not a fan of personally, guys. But he mainly runs to get the first down now. He doesn't really want to run to make the big play. He's not carrying the ball loosely anymore. It's a lot of trap plays and QB power type plays where he just wants to move the chains. If the offense is starting to stall, that's when he runs, and that kind of gets the chains moving, extends the drive, and he gets back into his rhythm. And to your credit, when you guys said that the best way to beat you guys defensively is to pass the ball over the middle. That's his specialty, and all of our wide receivers exploit the middle of the field, particularly Odell Beckham Jr., our tight end Isaiah Likely, who's had a pretty good year, ever since Mark Andrews went down. Zay Flowers exploits the middle. So I know you guys have a great secondary. You have a great front four. So where we might be able to match up with you guys rather well is in the middle of the field. I don't know if you guys agree or not, but I think if we can find some mismatches over the middle, I think we're going to be able to move the ball on you guys rather well. And to your credit, the Ravens' running game has steadily decreased since Keaton Mitchell tore his ACL. Prayers up to him, though. He did have his ACL surgery today, so I hope he recovers well. Talked to his dad earlier today. But yeah, I think that's where our biggest exploit for you guys is going to be the middle of the field with the middle part of your defense, because I think we have the playmakers to make that happen.
I think we're going to contain Lamar from running a whole lot too. We've done it. We've played some running quarterbacks this year, and we've contained every one of them.
Yeah, but they're
So
not Lamar, man. That's what
I
San Fran
know that
said.
they aren't
He's
Lamar, but I
different, man.
still
He's
think that
different. But I'm
when you
trying to
say
explain to you
contain
guys,
Lamar, you mean
are
he's
going to
not
see that there's no containing him anymore. That's what I'm trying to explain to you guys. You'll see when you play us, but there is no.
well
He doesn't run that much. Like I said,
contain.
he is. It's all arm. It's all arm. He's running. If you're getting pressure and he has to, whatever. That's his runs. That's it. So there's no people. You always say you can't let him run. Well, he's not running. He is pocket passing, and it's good to see.
Yeah, and by contain, I mean he's not going to run 100 yards on us. He's not just going to go like the last game just tear us up on the ground. You know
And
what I
because
mean?
last year
I
he
don't think
did tear us up before our comeback. He was tearing us up running the football against us. He had I think his career longest run against us last year. So
Yeah, that
yeah,
was
like
Greg Roman, man. That was Greg Roman. Thank God
It
he's
was,
gone. Yeah.
that was definitely under a different offensive coordinator,
yeah,
and a lot of us feared that Roman was going to cut his career short as opposed to extend it, and we're thankful for Monken. But let's get into the last segment of the show, guys. This is the portion of the show where we have a player of the game, as Josh likes to call it, the pick to click, and then score predictions. Since you guys are our guests, we'll let you guys go first. Who is your pick to click, and what do you think the final score will be at the bank on Sunday?
I'll let you go first, Joe. I've been hogging the space.
okay, player of the game, first time on this show. So you mean who will be the player of the game?
Yes, sir.
Obviously, I'm talking from a Miami Dolphins perspective. I would say the player of the game on our side is going to be Achan. I think he's going to slip around in there, and his turf toe is going to heal, and he's going to have a big game. And a big game is still going to be a heavy defensive game. By big game, I mean, like if he gets 100 yards against your defense, that's really, really good. So I'm still thinking it's going to be, 20, 20s to 20s, could go either way. And of course, I'm picking Dolphins to win on a, say, 24-21 type, just a real similar to Dallas type of scenario.
That's the exact score. I know you're not going to believe it, but that's the exact score. And Joe I should have gone first. I was going to say 24-21 Miami. And so I'm going to stick with it. So, Joe, we're on the same page. And my player of the game for the Dolphins, I think it's going to be someone on defense that steps up, like a Van Ginkel or a Jalen Ramsey. But I would go, or Chubb. I'll go one of those guys. So I'm going to go, let's see, Chubb is going to step up and have a big game and create constant pressure and
I was going to
help us.
say Chubb too.
Yeah.
So,
So so that's what I'm thinking. So we both got our Homer hats on, and we're rooting for our fins up team to
oh
go in
yeah,
there and
Homer
upset
hat
them.
every day.
Yeah.
Hey, I love it though. The confidence in your team is what makes you the super fan and the content creators that y'all are. Josh, go ahead, man. What's your pick to click and what's the final score?
Look, man, my pick to click is I'm gonna stick with Isaiah Likely, man. I know I picked him a lot the last few weeks just because he is just showing that he is not a backup tight end in this league, and he's actually blocking a lot better now. So he's becoming more of a complete tight end. Um, the score, man, I've been thinking about this all day. I just think the Ravens are the better team. I think Miami's played a pretty soft schedule compared to ours. And we've come out, with a lot of wins when we were worried about a lot of these games down the stretch. And I just think we're going to stay hot. I think it's going to be something like 37-14 Ravens. The Ravens play pissed off and just take over start to finish like we've been doing.
I'll say this: you had a little bit of a score gap last week with the 49ers, and you were 2 points off from guessing the correct score, which is eerie because guys, he's been closer more times than I can count this year, and last year was the exact opposite. But to round everything out, guys, I think this is going to be a physical game. I do believe I do believe both teams will have a couple big plays here and there. I'm not going to take anything away from you guys because between Mostert, Chain, and Tyreek Hill, you guys have three dynamite offensive weapons on that team. I do believe the Ravens come out on top. I believe it's going to be a 34-24 victory. I do believe you guys get a couple big touchdowns, but I think the Ravens jump out to an early lead and don't forfeit that lead at all. Similar to what we did with San Francisco, because I believe your defenses are similar for the most part. So that's where I'm going to leave it 34-24. I want to thank you guys so much for coming on the show. Joe, thank you for filling in at the last second. Rob, it's been great getting a chance to chat with you guys. Before we let you guys go, let everybody know where they can find you guys.
You can find me hanging out in Dolphin Thirsty's chats and stuff like that. I'm mostly a Facebook type of guy on the stuff that I run, so I am mostly a you know I jump up on panels all the time,
Right.
but I don't run my own thing.
Yeah. And my name says it right there. Dolphins Thirsty. Dolphins Thirsty here on YouTube. Dolphin Thirsty on Twitter. And basically Dolphins Thirsty every single place else. So thank you guys. And I got one quick question to you guys outside, because we all love all drinking the Kool-Aid of Mike McDaniel. We think he's cool. We think he's smart. What's an outside fan's perspective of Mike McDaniel?
He's funny
Same.
as shit.
And he's hilarious. I like him.
He's,
Yeah.
I think he's funny as shit. I love listening to when he was messing with Dan Marino on the sideline before the game over the weekend.
Yeah,
I
that
was
was
like,
funny.
I was like, okay, I can, a lot of people think he's a little arrogant or he rubs them the wrong way. I really don't. I don't mind it
No, I
because
like him.
Yeah.
he's. I'll take him over a lot of other coaches in the league, and I'm not just saying that because you guys are on the show, but he's a good offensive mind. He's been passed up quite a bit for head coaching jobs before he got to you guys, and he's got you guys playing good ball. So I
Yeah,
respect
no.
him as a head coach. I respect him, but some of the stuff that he says in these interviews and the fact that he doesn't dress like your typical head coach,
Yeah.
and the sneakers with the rolled up sweatpants leg and the
Yeah, I know.
and sprinting off the field after the game all the time. This shit's pretty funny.
Yeah, no, I like it. We all love him here, so I was just wondering what another, because I know like Philadelphia Eagles fans love their guy, but outside the circles, a lot of us don't like it, Sirianni, however you say it. So we're like, so it's all fun and games. I was wondering, I wonder if we say that, but I wonder if Mike McDaniel has that same effect on other teams' fan bases. So
No, he's cool.
All right, cool. Well, thank you
And
for
I've been
having
watching
us,
on
man.
HBO, man. I've been watching on HBO in season with the Dolphins.
Yeah, no, it's fun, man. They're a close-knit team. I had Nick Needham's mom, who's a defensive back on the Miami Dolphins. His mom was on one of our shows tonight, and she says it's a very tight-knit group this year, that they're really focused. They were mad at after the Dallas Cowboy game that they didn't perform well enough on defense, so they were mad at themselves, even with the victory. So I like to hear that. That's good stuff. So, good stuff to hear.
There you go.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
no problem,
Thanks
guys.
for coming on.
Thank you guys for coming on. And Josh, before I let you cut away to your exit, just want to send condolences to one of my coworkers' family. One of the guys I work with for the last 4 or 5 years. He passed away suddenly in his sleep last night, and we got the devastating news this morning in our roll call. So sending my condolences out to Officer Gary Williams, G. Will. We love you, man, and we're praying for you in this time, your family in this time. And I just wanted to shout him out before we wrap the show. Thank you guys again for coming on. Josh, go ahead and wrap it up.
All right, Ravens fans, let's get through this game, get this win, so we can just, not worry about Pittsburgh. Let guys start getting healthy and ready for the playoffs. Shut it down, man. I'm tired, man.